How many Southern Pacific locomotives are still left in their original paint? In this video, we will document every SP unit still out there, running the rails and moving freight. First, let's start with the SP locomotives left on the Union Pacific's roster. Number 1 would have to be UP 1413. This is an original SPGP 40-2, built in 1980. It's still in SP's block lettering. Next, let's cover the SP's GP60s that are still out there. First is UP 1004, a cotton belt unit, built in March of 1990. Next is UP 1005, built in September of '89. UP 1053 was one of the few SP units I saw firsthand while I worked for the Union Pacific. It was built in June of '91. UP 1055 was built March of '90. UP 1066 was built June of '91. Next is UP 1068, built in March of '90. Here you can see UP 1076 and UP 1124 working a local together in 2023. That's a sight you might not ever see again. Last for the GP60s is 1158, built September of '89. Next are UP's AC44CWs. First is UP 6310, built June of 1995. UP 6318 is looking pretty weathered. How neat it is to see it under those old SP signals. UP 6367 was built July of 1995. UP 6378 was also built in July of '95, along with UP 6379. There are only 5 SPAC 44 CWs left. In all, there are 15 locomotives still in Southern Pacific paint on the Union Pacific Railroad. Stay until the end of this video for a list of information on these locomotives and more. Next, let's look at SP locomotives working at some short lines. Check out this SPSD 45T2 tunnel motor working for the Arkansas-Oklahoma Railroad. SP 9362 was built in February of 1975. SP 9330 works for the Kyle Railroad. It was built in February of 1974. This SPSD 40M2 is a rebuilt SD 40-2 from 1994. It works for the Wisconsin and Southern Railroad. Now let's check out the Trona Railway. They use 5 SP locomotives, the largest SP fleet of any modern-day railroad. First is TRC 2002. It's been a SP unit since it was built in May of 1966. Next is TRC 2003. It also has been a SP unit since it was built in February of 1966, but it is very unique with its Kodachrome paint scheme from the failed SP Santa Fe merger. TRC 2004 was built in November of 1978. TRC 2005 was built in January of 1979. And lastly, TRC 2006 was built in November of 1978. The Northwestern Pacific Railroad has an SPM P15DC. This unit was built in December of 1974. The NWP also has a deadline with SPGP9s and SD9s. The Portland and Western Railroad has an old SD9 built in May of 1955.
Unfortunately,
1852 is going to be scrapped sometime soon due to an EPA mandate. GP9 1801 suffers a similar fate as the EPA requires it to be scrapped as well. It was built April of 1959. The Hartwell Railroad Company has this SPGP-40, which originally was a Rio Grande unit that got painted into the SP speed lettering in the 1990s. HLCX6341 is the last SP unit I could find in operation. It's been an SP unit since its incarnation in March of 1966. From my count, there are 28 SP locomotives, still in SP paint, working in the United States. Make sure to leave a comment if I missed any. Next, let's look at some units that are not currently being used. PNWR 1501 was used throughout 2023, but was mandated by the EPA to be scrapped and is no longer being used. This locomotive was built in November of 1952. This unit just might hold the record for most tons moved by a locomotive in railroad history. SP7863 has been sitting next to a field in Colorado for years. LTEX acquired several SPSD40M2s, and they were seen being transferred in 2023. They even transferred this old tunnel motor. There's an unknown future for SP7400 and SP9400. Another unknown is BUGX 4324. It's been sitting for about the last year or so. There's several SD45T2s that are no longer working on the Kyle Railroad. Anyone know what their future holds? Comment below. BUGX 7486 is reportedly waiting for repairs. It would be nice to see this unit get back to work. DGNO 9486 is sitting around. Most likely it's going to the chipper. There are a couple SP units missing in action. First is IORY 9500 and GEXR 3054. If anyone has info on these two units, comment below. There are many more SP units sitting around the US, most likely waiting to get scrapped. However, it's nice to know there's some survivors out there still moving freight. Here's that list I promised. This is all the SP units currently working heading into the year 2024. Moving left to right, the first section is the current railroad and road number. Next is its original SP road number, then the type of locomotive it is, then the year it was built, and lastly, the locomotive's serial number. What I found most interesting is that after almost 28 years, there are still 15 SP units in their paint on the Union Pacific roster. What did you find most interesting? Comment below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. God bless.